This is one of the things I hear from so many of my clients. You've been trying to control your thoughts, fighting, fixing, forcing yourself to flip thoughts and think positive. But have you noticed the more you fight the negative, the louder it gets? Because what you resist persists, and this is definitely true with your thoughts. What if I told you you don't have to get rid of your negative thoughts altogether? In this video, I'm going to show you how to neutralize negative thoughts effortlessly, not by suppressing them, not by flipping them, but by simply shifting your perspective of them. This is the secret Neville and other mystics understood, that your consciousness is the only true power. And once you know how to rest in that awareness, every negative thought will lose its grip. And if you're new here, hello, I am your Muse Traci. On this channel, I teach manifestation the Neville Goddard way, helping you to peel back the false layers of programming, reprogram your self-concept, and wake up each morning living in the peace of knowing that you are the operant power and the creator of your reality. So here's the truth that most people don't realize. When you try to fight a thought, you give it more energy. When you fear that you've even had the thought to begin with, you give it more power. You say things like, I can't think that, or I need to replace that with a positive thought. But every time you engage with the thought, even to push it away, you're declaring, this thought has power over me. Neville said, you're not a victim of your thoughts, you are their master. But mastery doesn't come from force, and it definitely doesn't come from fear. It comes from recognition, knowing that your thoughts are not who you are. The thought itself isn't the problem. It's your identification with the thought that is the problem. When you stop taking every thought personally and seriously, when you stop believing that every passing thought or idea defines you, you begin to reclaim your power. Imagine your mind like the sky. And I'm sure you've heard this analogy before because it's a good analogy. Thoughts are just like clouds, passing forms that drift through awareness. Some are bright and fluffy, others are dark and heavy, but no cloud ever changes the sky. The sky remains what it is, vast, untouched, unbothered, undefined by the clouds that are passing in front of it. And you are that sky. Your consciousness, the awareness that sees the thought, is the real you, the unchanging you, the you that could never be affected or changed by a passing thought or a passing cloud. Your consciousness, the awareness that sees the thought, is the real you. The moment you remember that, negative thoughts lose their meaning. They lose their grip over you. They're no longer facts about you. They're simply noise passing through. This is why Neville and mystics like Michael Singer and Eckhart Tolle all said the same thing in different words. The key is detachment through your awareness. It's not escaping the thought, not forcing love and light, not lying to yourself and flipping thoughts. None of that works, because underneath all of that, you're still fearing that this thought identifies you. You're fearing that you had it in the first place. But by returning to the simple awareness, I am the one observing, I am not the thought itself. By returning to that, you're not identified with the thoughts. You can see them for what they truly are, which is temporary, passing by, and really something that you get to choose to engage with or not engage with. So here's the energetic shift that changes everything. Most people live as the thinker. They over-identify with their mind. They identify with every mental story, every what if, every fear, but you are never the thinker. You are the awareness that the thoughts arise within. So when a negative thought appears, instead of reacting or judging or labeling it as bad, just notice it. Just notice it and decide if you want to entertain it and you want to give it your power, because there's nothing standing over you telling you that you absolutely have to give this thought your power. That's not happening. You get final say. You get to decide which thoughts you give power to and which thoughts you believe in and which thoughts you just dismiss. You're allowed to dismiss any thought that comes into your mind. Literally, you get to choose. You get to decide. So step one in taking your power back, you don't have to choose every thought that comes into your mind. A lot of those thoughts aren't even yours. Watch it like you've watched a wave in the ocean. It rises, it peaks, and then it falls. It's just a wave passing through. The wave didn't change the ocean. It's just passing through. It's just energy moving. It's the same thing with your thoughts. When you don't feed it with your attention, it collapses and it crumbles naturally. That's what without effort truly means, right? We don't have to battle with the thoughts. Actually, battling with the thoughts doesn't actually work. So you're no longer trying to banish all negative thoughts. You're not trying to endlessly get them to stop and go away. No, all of that feeds them more energy and more power. Instead, you're resting as the presence behind it in the peace that is truly you. So let me give you an example. A client once told me, Traci, I can't stop thinking about the worst case scenarios. It's exhausting. She kept trying to flip her thoughts and affirm over it, but it only made the negative loop stronger. They simply wouldn't let up. When I guided her to simply observe these thoughts, not engage with them, just observe, to see her thoughts as just thoughts, not true, and not defining who she is, they were just one option out of the infinity of options, right? Out of infinite options. This is just one thought. It's one option. When she practiced this, something clicked. She said, it's like the thoughts are still there, but they don't suck me in anymore. They don't have power over me and they don't define me. Right? So she started seeing these thoughts not as true, not as defining her. She was over-identified with her thoughts. And when she started to remember that this isn't truth just because it came into my mind, it's actually only one option for me to think about. And, she also developed the skill of when she didn't like a certain thought, she realized how many other options there were. And so she trained herself to choose again. And that's it. That's all this takes. We're not fighting the thoughts. We just retract our power out of them. We are the one that empower thoughts. So you have a choice. Either empower the thought if you like it, or don't empower the thought if you don't like it. Either way, it's your power. And that's it. That's true freedom. The thoughts didn't stop for my client that I'm talking about because she fought them. Remember, what you resist persists. They stopped mattering because she no longer believed they were her truth. And that's the effortless removal. We're not changing the thought, but we are changing the relationship to the thought. And once you stop reacting and giving them so much power, they naturally dissipate on their own. They'll just drop away, right? We don't need to fight them. So here's what Neville taught that ties it all together. You don't have to change your thoughts to change your life. You only need to change your state of being or your conception of yourself. Your thoughts flow from your state of being. So if you're in a state of peace, your thoughts naturally harmonize with that state. If you're in a state of fear, they'll match that too. This means that when you shift your inner state from anxiety to assurance, from lack to fulfillment, the mind automatically follows your shifted state, right? You don't need to silence the thoughts. You rise above their frequency. You rise to the state that you choose to be in. Make that your focus. As Neville said, a change of feeling is a change of destiny. So here's a practice that you can try. The next time a negative thought appears, don't try to fix it. Don't try to resist it. Just pause and tell yourself, I am not my thoughts. I have the power to choose. Is this thought one that I'd like to entertain, or would I actually prefer to simply dismiss it as only one option out of the infinite options that are available to me and allow it to fall back into the field of infinite possibilities. You can simplify the question if you want to, but you get the point. And it's important to, I think the important thing here is to ask, remember, it's one option. And is this the option you're choosing, right? And if it's not, simply remove your attention from that option that you don't choose and put your attention on the option that you do choose. When you do this, this question pulls you out of being identified with the thought, and it pulls you back into your awareness of being the awareness, being the chooser. It returns you to the seat of consciousness, the place where your true peace exists. Then breathe. You don't have to overanalyze that you even had the negative thought. Just let it pass. Just, again, align with your new chosen preference. You'll notice that silence starts to grow between your thoughts as you practice this awareness, and this calm spaciousness that isn't something you do, it's who you are, will start to be there more and more and more. The less you feel identified with your thoughts, the more this spaciousness and this, simply this awareness, it starts to appear more and more and more. So if you've been fighting with your thoughts, trying to flip them, trying to stay positive, endlessly just battling with your thoughts, and you're trying to stop thinking negatively, and you're wondering why it feels like a never-ending battle, let this be your permission to stop. Stop over-identifying with the thoughts and come back to the truth that you are the awareness. Thoughts are not who you truly are, and they don't define you. You simply do not have to believe every thought that comes across the sky of your mind. You see, you were never meant to be controlled by the mind. You were meant to control it, to use it as a navigating tool. So if you're ready to experience this type of shift and this type of inner peace, not just as a moment, but as your new baseline, then I invite you to work with me inside of my 1-month transformative coaching program. In this program, we go straight to the subconscious to dissolve the false programming that keeps you reactive and keeps you stuck in mental loops. And I also help you to embody a self-concept so steady, so peaceful that nothing external can shake you. There's a link to book a free call with me as well, offering this for a temporary bit of time, a limited time because I have limited availability, but I am offering it right now. So take advantage, book the call. If you're ready to get started and you're just ready to dive in and do this work with me, you'll find the link down below for the program, the one-on-one coaching program. Thank you all so much for watching this one, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.